out.
I'll see you all again tomorrow. Until then, you know where to keep it, right here on Fox, the Network America Trust. For fair and balanced news, good night.
The O'Reilly Factor is on tonight. Once and for all, why should the USA go to war over Iraq? We'll present the president's case and then try to punch some holes in it. A brutal crime in Milwaukee. 20 kids beat a man and leave him brain dead. A rerun of what happened in Chicago a few weeks ago. Also coming up, Senator McCain and Patricia Heaton on why she's pro-life. Caution, you're about to enter a no-spin zone. Factor begins in 90 seconds.
Congressmen back from a controversial Baghdad trip. Hello, everyone. I'm Donna Fiducia. And 2 Democratic congressmen are back on U.S. soil tonight after a trip to Baghdad where they questioned President Bush's credibility on Iraq. Michigan's David Bonnier and Washington State's Jim McDermott say they didn't necessarily trust Saddam Hussein.
We need to let Mr. Blix go in and do the inspections in a professional way. Shouldn't have pressure from the United States or from Saddam Hussein. In 60 days, he will give a report, and if there's more that needs to be done, we will know it at that point.
Despite the controversy, Congressman Bonnier described the trip as productive. A 78-year-old former lawmaker is coming out of political retirement. Former Senator Frank Lautenberg is the choice of Democratic Party leaders to replace incumbent Senator Robert Torricelli on the November ballot. Lautenberg was picked after at least 2 other potential candidates reportedly said no. Torricelli suddenly dropped out of the race yesterday amid ethics questions. And 25 years after his death, Elvis Presley will debut an album at the top of the record charts in 12 different countries, and that is a first for Elvis. The new album came out last week. It's a collection of 30 of his #1 hits. To his fans, he is still the king. 30 minutes to the next update. I'm Donna Fiducia. O'Reilly is next.
Hi, I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thank you for watching us tonight. Government corruption at the highest level. That is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. The capitulation of Senator Robert Torricelli is a result of the folks, pure and simple. If it were up to the Democratic Party, the Justice Department, or the Senate, Torricelli, a man who apparently accepted bribes, would be acceptable as a U.S. Senator. That, of course, is unacceptable to we the people. Let's run it down. After WNBC-TV here in New York City ran a devastating report on Torricelli's situation, the voters in New Jersey told the pollsters the senator was done. So Democratic leaders like Tom Daschle forced Torricelli to quit the race, even though a week earlier, Daschle was campaigning for the torch, as the senator is called. The Democratic leadership knew that Torricelli had taken gifts and cash from convicted felon David Chang in return for lobbying South Korea to award Chang a $1 billion insurance contract. That, if proved in court, would be bribery. The Senate Ethics Committee, comprised of Democrats Daniel Inouye, Jack Reed, and Blanche Lincoln, and Republicans Pat Roberts, George Voinovich, and Craig Thomas, also knew that Torricelli had taken the gifts and money, yet that committee stonewalled public disclosure and issued a meaningless rebuke. The U.S. Attorney's Office, headed by the since-retired Mary Jo White, refused to indict the senator and also refused to tell the public anything about the investigation, citing grand jury rules. However, the feds must have uncovered some information outside the grand jury because we here at The Factor did. So hiding behind the grand jury seems disingenuous at best. On July 1st, former U.S. Ambassador to South Korea Stephen Bosworth told Factor producer Nate Fredman, quote, "I spoke with federal investigators back in 2001 about this. It doesn't look like they're going to do anything with it." Bosworth apparently knew the fix was in. What Ambassador Bosworth told the feds was this: the Senator Torricelli brought David Chang to a meeting with Korean Finance Minister Kang Bong-kwon, and at that meeting heavily lobbied for Chang to be given the insurance contract. Bosworth says he apologized to Chang on behalf of the United States for Torricelli's conduct. Torricelli denies Bosworth's account, saying that David Chang sneaked into that meeting. Now that sounds credible, doesn't it? Anyway, the truth is that the Democratic Party knew Torricelli was corrupt and chose to let him run for re-election anyway. The Justice Department also knew and did not indict, and finally the entire Senate knew and looked the other way. So there you have our justice system at the highest level. You can read this Talking Points memo on our website. Read it and weep. And that's the memo. Now for the top story tonight. Once and for all, why should the USA go to war with Iraq? Joining us now from Washington to tell us is Joe Reeder, the former Undersecretary of the Army under President Clinton. Now, Secretary Reeder, I'm going to play devil's advocate. Just tell us exactly why we should go to war with Iraq, and then I'm going to try to punch some holes in it. Go ahead.
Well, the fact is, since 1991, this guy, Saddam Hussein, has been in flagrant violation of innumerable resolutions. And 687, unconditional destruction of weapons of mass destruction, 715, unlimited access by inspectors. The fact is the inspectors were doing a very good job when they were kicked out in 98.
All right, but isn't that a UN problem, not a United States problem? Isn't that a UN problem?
It's a UN problem, you betcha, but the United Nations has not proven itself capable of decisive action.
All right, now, some people are going to say, well, yeah, that's true, but why should the United States take a unilateral or bilateral with Britain action when the United States, when the United Nations simply will not? Why should we?
Well, preferably we would take a multilateral stance.
All right, I don't want to go pie in the sky here. The argument is, should President Bush be allowed by Congress to take action, military action against Saddam Hussein? Why should we?
Absolutely essential that we speak with one voice. Right now, the reason we're being jerked around, Bill, is one of two things. Either he is fast scrambling feverishly to move his weapons of mass destruction around, and he's a master at that, to camouflage, move, and or destroy, or he doesn't believe us, or he thinks politically we're not willing to do what we've said we're going to do.
All right, I got a third reason, but I'll give you a little later. But look, the argument then becomes, and there are millions of Americans who believe this argument, that he's not a threat to us. That he may have these weapons, but they can't really be launched at the United States. And, you know, Israel may be in jeopardy, but not us. So why should we be so worried?
Well, I think it is a threat to us. Anyone who has markets in or traffics in weapons of mass destruction, biological, chemical, or more serious nuclear, is a threat to the entire world because he's trafficking in it.
But then we'd have to go into North Korea, too, to get them, would we not?
Well, we're working with North Korea right now, Bill, frankly.
No, I know that.
And,
but if they don't work with us, do we have to knock out all of these people? Do we have to go watch Pakistan because they may launch against India?
No, we need to watch everyone who has the capability of doing that. But right now we've got one guy who has made a bet, lost it in the Gulf War. There were conditions to that. He promised unlimited access and unconditional destruction of weapons of mass destruction. Either we deliver on the failure to do that, the consequences of that, or you've invited the entire world and every would-be tin-pot despot to engage in the same kind of conduct.
All right, but under the president that you serve, Clinton, he let this go for 8 years. He didn't do anything. Why now?
Well, he didn't, by any means, let it go. As you said, we delivered a message in 1994, October of '94, when Saddam screwed around with the no-fly zones and the Kurds. And we moved a heavy brigade in 96 hours or something. He didn't know we can do. He backed down, and later...
but the inspectors didn't go in under President Clinton, even though you passed a tough resolution in '98. They still didn't go in, did they?
Well, they were, yes, you're right. They were kicked out in '98, right. And it was a mistake not to enforce that resolution
All right,
at that
so
time.
President Bush, you're saying, and President Bush is correcting President Clinton's mistake now.
No, we're not talking about correcting a mistake. What we're talking about, and it was a mistake, but what we're talking about now is you got the entire United States mandate, something that you never came anywhere close to having.
All right, we have a minute left. I'll give you the reason why Saddam is acting the way he is. He believes that he can push this to the brink of war and then back down and get away with it and let inspectors in and play the cat and mouse game. While he is doing this, he is trying to inflame the Arab world against the United States and succeeding to some extent. I'll give you the last word.
Well, I agree with you. That's the last word, Bill.
All right. So he is a despicable, evil man, and he's going to get his. And I'm glad that we've got him on the spot. Secretary, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Bill.
All right. Next on the rundown, a man begs for his life, but 20 kids beat him and leave him brain dead in Milwaukee. We'll analyze the crime when we come back.
I heard it defies gravity.
I heard its brakes could stop a freight train.
I heard it can fly. You won't believe what people are saying about this car until you drive it. Test drive the BMW 7 Series at an authorized BMW center to see for yourself.
They both worked hard. Took care of business. Took care of their families. So why will one leave his loved ones with every advantage, while the other leaves everything to chance? Some people already know our financial representatives excel at a lot more than life insurance. Northwestern Mutual Financial Network. Are you there yet?
Hey, Mom. Just wanted to call and tell you I'm in my new house, and I have every light in the house on. Oh, and tell Dad I'm air conditioning the entire neighborhood.
Every year, millions of Americans experience the joy of owning their first home. Call the Fannie Mae Foundation for a free guide to help put you on the path to home ownership and a list of lenders and credit counselors.
FX Movies, 7 nights a week.
This morning's detection of an unidentified radio source from deep space.
Academy Award winner Jodie Foster.
The message contains instructions for building some kind of a transport.
Matthew McConaughey.
By doing this, you're willing to risk your life.
James Woods.
I'm going to recommend that we militarize this project immediately.
From the award-winning director of Forrest Gump.
Under control, do you read me?
Contact, tonight on FX. Check your local listings.
In the Unresolved Problem segment tonight, another unspeakable crime done by children. 36-year-old Charlie Young got angry when a kid threw an egg at him in Milwaukee. A confrontation then took place in a poor neighborhood. When it was all over, 20 kids using bats, shovels, and wood had beaten Young until he was brain dead. One of the kids is 10 years old. This horrendous crime comes on the heels of a Chicago vigilante incident a few months ago where 2 men were murdered by a mob. With us now is NYU sociology professor Dr. Dalton Connolly. I want to read you in the audience, Doctor, a couple of eyewitnesses' account, all right? Because the reporters went into the neighborhood and they asked people who lived there their whole lives why this happened. Here's what one woman said. The kids around here, they don't go to school. They stay up all hours of the night, and they have no regard for human life, none whatsoever. Second woman says, these kids, they're always going to do what they want to do. What I want to know, where are the parents? I blame the parents. And basically, these kids in this neighborhood in Milwaukee are on the street dealing dope, according to all accounts, and out of control. And now this guy is dead. What is your solution to it?
Well, the best solution for all parties involved would obviously be for the families of these kids to have better control of them. But you and I are sitting here in New York City, and we're not their parents, so we can't address that issue.
Yes, we can. I'll permit me to disagree. Yes, we can. Those parents of those children should be charged with criminal neglect of those children, particularly the 10-year-old, all right? I mean, the authorities should go in and charge them with a crime. If you can't control your child and that child commits a violent act against someone else, you yourself as a parent should be charged. Am I wrong?
I don't disagree with that, but I think in order to prevent this from occurring over and over again in a more long-term fashion, we need to address a couple more root causes that cause these bad parenting situations, that cause these kids to be hanging out at all hours.
All right, what are those causes?
Well, one is that these kids don't have anything to do. Why don't we extend the school day? Why don't we have more after-school activities? These kids at 10 at night should be exhausted.
Are we going to force them to go to these after? If these kids aren't going to school, extending the school day ain't going to matter. They're not in school in the first place.
We should be forcing them to make them to go to school.
That's right. And if they don't go to school, what do you do? Say they're truant. What do you do?
You know, it might be time to go back to some old-style truant officer, tough love.
No, you arrest their parents. You arrest their parents if they don't go to school, right?
Well, that might work for a short term, but I also think you need to address their long-term future.
How?
Well, that's if I had the answer to that, I wouldn't be sitting here with you.
You don't know?
Well, for one, somehow we have to get jobs back in these devastated communities.
But they don't want jobs. Look, What do you mean jobs?
Why do you think they don't want jobs?
Because they can
You think
earn
they're-
$500 a day selling heroin, and they don't want to work at Burger King for $8 an hour. That's why.
They don't want dead-end jobs. They want a future.
Yeah, so do I. I went
We
to
all want a
school
future.
and I got
They're
it.
no different than us. But you can earn a lot more than $500 sitting here talking to me.
Absolutely,
They're
because I went
rational-
to school and I paid the price.
But they're rational just like you and I are. They're gonna, if there's $500 a day dealing drugs, they're going to take that even when there's risks.
That's right. And they're not
over-
going to go to school, and they're not going to work hard.
If they're going to end up with an $8 or $6 an hour job after school, they're not going to
So
stay in school.
what do you want? Us to give everybody a title of a CEO running around the
But the thing
poor
is, if you're
neighborhood?
aggressive, if you're naturally aggressive, say in Beverly Hills,
Yeah.
you're going to end up as a CEO and then maybe later in jail these days. But if you're aggressive in the ghetto, you're probably going to end up in some tragic incident in jail
Particularly
or dead
if
yourself.
your parents aren't minding
Exactly.
you. All right, so here's my solution. You tell me where I'm wrong. Two-pronged solution. Number one, it is absolutely despicable that our Justice Department does not enforce the laws in the inner city. They allow drug dealing on the street. We all know it. We all see it. And the reason they do is the cops say, hey, I arrest these guys, the judges let them out, they don't charge them, because many, many white, powerful people say drug dealing is not a violent crime. And indeed it is. So these people know the risk reward is in their favor. They make a lot of money, they'll get a slap on the wrist, maybe do 30 days. That's it. All right? So you enforce the laws very harshly. You inflict pain upon these children who are dealing drugs and staying out all night. That's number one. Number two, you arrest their parents if they don't go to school, and you arrest them if a 10-year-old is out after 9 or 10 o'clock on criminal neglect charges. Where am I wrong?
Well, you can't arrest everybody.
Yes, you can.
No, you can't. Because if let's say you arrest the parent on a drug charge, that's going to cause the kid to then be unattended to.
Put him in the system.
Well, kids in the
He's
system
better
are
off in the system.
much more likely to commit a crime than a kid who's with their family.
Well, look, these kids are slaughtering people in the street with impunity now, and you have no concrete solution.
First of all, we have to keep this in perspective. As tragic as it is, crime has been going down over the last 20 years.
Not in these neighborhoods.
And
in my neighborhood, in your neighborhood, they have.
Overall, it's
not
been
in these
stable.
neighborhoods.
In these neighborhoods, even the crime has been stable or gone down. Now, I hope this and the Chicago incident don't signal a new upturn with the
It's the
downswing economy.
mindset I'm worried about, Professor. It's the mindset.
Well, the mindset is the same as the kids in Beverly Hills who are killing people on their Nintendo, but the conditions are just different.
No, that's wrong.
You think that
That's
these kids
fallacious.
are fundamentally different? They're
Yes, I do.
genetically different?
I believe that
they're biologically different?
Here's why I believe it.
That you're
I believe
stepping
their
into
parents are
racial
so
territory there.
irresponsible and their parents are so degenerate.
And why? Why?
Because their parents are either addicted or they're apathetic or they don't care.
Don't you want to solve the addiction problem then?
Sure.
You think that just arresting everybody is going to solve the addiction
Coerced
problem?
drug rehab.
That would be fine with me, too.
I want to hold everybody accountable
drug
for
rehab,
what they do.
not just sticking people in prison for graduate school. for
Coerced
criminals.
drug rehab, they'd be off the street, and I'll put their kids in the system because they're better off in the system than wandering around at
If you fix the
midnight
system,
selling cocaine.
If you fix the system.
Well,
I agree. That's like choosing the lesser of two evils. They're both
exactly
pretty bad.
right. The
They're both
lesser
pretty
of
bad.
two
I'm not
evils
sure which the lesser of two evils.
the lesser of two evils would have made Charlie Young alive today. And this 36-year-old man is dead, beaten to death by 20 kids in Milwaukee. Kids who are not,
We're not in
were out
disagreement
of
about
control.
that. The question is how to prevent the next Charlie Young from being beaten to
All
death.
right. But you've got to stabilize the situation and post discipline first, and then you go to the sociological range. Hey, Professor, we appreciate your point of view. Thanks very much. The Factor continues in a moment with Senator John McCain. And then later on, an African woman convinces Hillary Clinton and others to allow her to stay in the United States. Now the woman turns out to be a criminal. You're not going to believe this story. You'll see it nowhere else on television, but here on The Factor. Coming up.
0 to 60 in 5.9 seconds. And it corners with almost no body roll. Does it handle as good as it looks? Come on, what's it like to drive one of those?
You tell me. The completely redesigned BMW 7 Series. If you don't have a friend who has one, you'll have to visit an authorized BMW center for a test drive.
I love to keep a clean club, but the boys get so rambunctious sometimes. Nice catch! Hence, my new Bissell Pro Heat Protect Beauty. It's the only one that thoroughly cleans and provides scratch guard protection all in one beautiful machine. Smoothies! Scotch Guard protection. It's cool.
Now clean and protect with Bissell.
It'll put any neatnik in hog heaven.
Bissell. We mean clean.
When life's little interruptions slow you down, Scotty's Auto Body and Repair for a quick pick-me-up. Scotty's Auto Body has expanded to carry out complete service and maintenance on all kinds of cars. Our expert mechanics can handle anything from a quick oil change to a complete engine overhaul. And at Scotty's, we treat your car as though it were our own. We won't tell you need something you don't. Scotty's Auto Body. If they can't fix your car, nobody can.
Shelters for homeless teens, one of the many benefits of the charitable donations from the Spirit Mountain Community Fund.
In the personal story segment tonight, Senator John McCain has a new book out called Worth the Fighting For, which I recommend. The line is from Ernest Hemingway's For Whom the Bell Tolls. The senator was kind enough to tell me that because I would never have known it. The senator joins us now from Washington. All right, two things on my mind tonight, Senator. First, did Congressman McDermott and Bonnier give Saddam Hussein aid and comfort by their anti-Bush statements in Baghdad? And this is very personal for you because you were a captive when Jane Fonda went to Hanoi. So how do you see it?
I see it. Jane Fonda was a troubled young actress who, in my mind, was terribly misguided. These are members of Congress. These are individuals who are supposed to be, and by the way, I'm not excusing what Jane Fonda did, but this, I think, is far more serious because these are members of Congress, representatives of the United States government, at least the legislative branch. If these individuals wanted to go to the floor of the House and question the President of the United States' integrity, I wouldn't agree with it, but that's their right as legislators. To go overseas, to Baghdad, Iraq, and make these statements, in my view, is reprehensible.
Do you think it's treasonous?
I don't know if you'd call it treasonous.
I wouldn't try them, but it's aid and comfort to the enemy, is it not?
Well, I think it certainly must give comfort to the enemy. I'll bet you there was not a resident of Iraq that didn't hear about their remarks very soon after.
Al Jazeera picked that up, bang, all over the world. They, two congressmen calling Bush a liar, blah, 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 blah. Now, do you think that McDermott and Bonnier realized what they did, or they just fogged out?
I have no idea. But again, I'm not excusing Miss Fonda. But I will say that we expect a little more from members of Congress who are supposed to be grown and mature individuals to do something like that without recognizing that this would be used as propaganda by the enemy. I don't get it, and I don't think I can recall ever seeing anything quite like it in a long, long time.
You angry about it?
Sure.
Yeah, because, I mean, you, of all people, were, you know, held captive by our enemies and saw somebody give aid and comfort. And I said yesterday on a Radio Factor, I said, look, this is aid and comfort to Saddam Hussein. These guys, no matter what their intent, and we respect, as you know, dissent here on the Factor. I mean, absolutely. But you don't go to Baghdad and do this. I mean, that was just outrageous.
Come on your program, go to the floor, go to the floor of the House, debate me at any time, any place within the confines of the United States. Look, I didn't agree with the Clinton administration's foreign policy. I travel a lot around the world, Bill, usually at taxpayers' expense. I have never criticized the executive branch of the United States while overseas. I enjoy it sometimes when I'm in the United States of America, but you don't do it overseas.
Right. We got to present one face to the world, particularly in the war on terror. You don't undermine your commander-in-chief. All right, now let's go to a local issue, which is very important for the Factor audience and for you in the state of Arizona. We've been doing a story with the Tonopah Indians down on the reservation on the border of Mexico. They told me yesterday they're overwhelmed with dope dealers coming across in Humvees, automatic weapons. The police force is overrun. They've asked the federal government to help, and the federal government, under President Clinton and President Bush, basically says, screw you, Tonopah Indians. What say you?
The Tohono O'odham tribe is is under siege. There are people, and it's not only they are under siege, but people are coming across in that very desolate part of our border and dying in the desert as well, which is a human tragedy of enormous proportions as well. We need to get technical equipment down there. We need to get the reserves and guard down there, and we need to do whatever is necessary.
Yeah, but it hasn't happened, Senator, and you're the senior senator from Arizona. Yep. I mean, come on, you and Kyle can't make this happen? You can't put the arm on Bush to make this happen? What's the problem?
We've tried both. We have been able to get a dramatic increase in Border Patrol over the last several years, which is not enough. Yeah, there are more there. Look, I totally sympathize with the Indians, but we have increased Border Patrol. We have increased a lot of things.
In Douglas you have it, in Yuma you have.
Yeah, but they also...
And then the dope dealers now say, hey, here's the weak point. The Indian reservation's the weak point, so we're going to go through there, and they're accompanied by the Mexican Army. They're accompanied by the Mexican Federale Police. I mean, when are we going to stop this, Senator? When are we going to put the military on the border to protect our own people?
I want to assure you that I will do everything in my power to see that this stops, because September 11th changed the whole equation, because those may not just be drug dealers that are coming across the border.
Sure, terrorists.
So that requires, exactly.
You know, you and I have an interesting history. The first time we debated this, you were absolutely against the putting military on the border. The second time we debated this, you were man enough to say that I was right, and I'm not saying this to be, you know, lauded over you, but you were man enough, and very few politicians do that, by the way. You said, you were right, O'Reilly. We need these guys down there. Now, I believe every American, or 80% of Americans, understand we need a military presence, not only in Mexico, but in Canada as well. Yet, the Bush administration sits there and does nothing, and I don't understand it. I'm going to give you the last word.
I think that Homeland Security is focusing on it. Admiral Loy is certainly involved, and is Tom Ridge, and we need to do a lot more, and I believe that we will. But we got a lot of problems. If you really want to attack the drug dealers, if you want to really attack the terrorists, you go to the source.
That's right.
You know that.
You go to the source, but we don't have the will. We didn't destroy those Afghan poppy fields, Senator. We didn't destroy them. You know why? We want to buy those drug lords off so that they support Karzai. We let them go. And now the opium harvest this year, 1,000 times higher than it was under the Taliban.
I'm deeply concerned about Afghanistan.
It's outrageous.
Because the government doesn't control much outside the city limits of
Kabul. Yeah, but we
Kabul.
could have destroyed that, Senator. Hey, always good to see everybody buy the Senator's book. All right?
Thanks, Bill.
We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Plenty more As the Factor continues. An unbelievable story about Hillary Clinton. Stay there. Stay there. In a moment.
You'd expect some things to be free, but never a weekend of new hit movies. Watch The Stars Free Movie Weekend, October 4th, 5th, and 6th. It's your chance to see The Princess Diaries, The Fast and the Furious, The Mummy Returns, Rush Hour 2, and more great movies, all for free. Catch The Stars Free Movie Weekend, October 4th, 5th, and 6th. Just turn to Stars or call 1-800-SUPER-PAC.
First reconfigurable luxury SUT. Cadillac Escalade EXT. Breakthrough.
That's 12 items.
No. The 3 gains are 1 item. 12 eggs are 1 item.
But each one smells different. Gain smells like sunshine. Gentle Breeze Gain smells cool and refreshing. And New Island Fresh Gain smells tropical and exhilarating.
Well, Gladys, you smell very nice yourself. Right.
The smell says clean. 3 ways.
People always wonder how we really feel about each other.
No, we don't hate each other.
Sean is a conservative, I'm a liberal.
Alan is a great guy.
You can agree to disagree and disagree without being disagreeable.
He's just wrong.
I certainly have my point of view, Sean has his.
And the reason I know he's good at his job is because he gets under my skin.
Our job is to find unique perspectives, unique angles.
It's my job in life to turn him around, to Hannitize him.
The Hannity and Colm Show is a perfect example of how a democracy works.
The
The Impact segment is brought to you by Fidelity Investments, because you're not just invested, you're personally invested.
In the Impact segment tonight, the Washington Post is reporting that New York Senators Hillary Clinton and Charles Schumer were bamboozled by an African woman. It seems a lady calling herself Adelaide Abankwa from Ghana applied for asylum here in the USA, saying she was facing genital mutilation if she returned to Africa. The INS turned her down, but then reversed itself after Clinton and Schumer put the pressure on. Joining us now from Washington is Douglas Farah, an investigative reporter for The Post, who, along with William Brannigan, broke this story. So it turns out the woman is what, Mr. Farah?
Well, essentially a fraud, like the INS said. She stole someone else's identity, invented a story about what would happen to her if she were returned to Ghana, and lived here a good number of years. Well, she's still here, but it seems that the evidence of fraud is now fairly overwhelming and verified.
Yeah, she's in Maryland. She's in Maryland. And she got here on fraudulent circumstances. She's a thief, as you pointed out. And when is she going to be deported?
Well, I think she's just been indicted. It's probably be a long time down the road before she's actually deported, unless she chooses to leave voluntarily.
Why? What's holding it up?
Well, I guess it's the slow wheels of American justice. But the INS wanted her gone a long time ago. And as you said, they lost their appeal and kept digging because the case so rankled them.
All right, now, is it because of Hillary Clinton and Schumer that, and how did this woman get to their attention anyway?
Well, claiming female genital mutilation was a stroke of genius because it's a horrendous thing that happens. It was classified as a reason to give asylum not too long before she claimed it, and it was, I think, just too good a story to find out the facts about. And a lot of groups jumped on the bandwagon and didn't investigate and were unhappy when the story, in fact, proved to be a hoax.
All right, but Hillary Clinton and Charles Schumer are two very powerful and busy people. Why would they take this woman's cause up?
Well, again, I think it seems because female genital mutilation is a very powerful claim. And
but how would they even know about it? Somebody must have put the arm on these senators to get involved. Do you know who did it?
A lot of different feminist groups did. Gloria Steinem was involved. Some of the other Now and others got involved in the case, pressing for her asylum.
Now we know. So the Now people got in there, and Hillary and Schumer, to be politically correct, because this, is, of course, is a politically correct issue, jumped in, didn't investigate. So the woman from Ghana conned two United States senators, all the feminist groups, and is still sitting there in Maryland, and you say the INS can't get rid of her because the wheels grind slowly?
Apparently so. I don't make the laws here. And she's just been indicted, so I think that she can go, if she wants to trial and drag it out quite a bit further. But
who's defending her? Does she have money to hire big-time lawyers?
I don't know the answer to that question.
Really? So there may be somebody behind her giving her money to defend herself. It seems to me that this case would be adjudicated quickly, and then she'd be out of here.
Well, it initially was until it got out of the INS system into the regular court system, and when political pressure was applied.
By?
It was by Mrs. Clinton when she was First Lady, by the senators you mentioned, and by the feminist groups.
All right, so they got it out of the INS, they got it into the regular criminal justice system?
Through the process of appeal, which is perfectly legal, but they did press it to as far as they could go, yes.
Okay, and who paid for all of those appeals? Do you know? Did Now pay for them?
I don't know. I did the Africa research in Ghana, and Mr. Brannigan did the bulk of the research here, and I'm sorry I don't know the answer.
Okay, well, again, now this woman, does she have any means of support? Is she working? Is she doing anything other than sitting around?
Well, she became sort of a cas célèbre for a while when she was in the news. In fact, the people in Ghana realized where she was when they saw her on a cable television station, and they said, "Hey, you know, there's Regina. Look at her. She's in the States."
Was she a con woman back there too?
Not particularly. She worked at a restaurant owned by Germans at a little resort hotel on the beach.
So she just figured this out?
She was very, very good at figuring this out. I don't know if she got guidance or if she thought of it herself, but she got a stolen passport and then fabricated an entire story that sounded, you know, really, really horrendous.
And last question, is Mrs. Clinton still on her team?
I don't know. I think that everybody, after the Post story ran and it became evident she was a fraud, have just sort of quietly walked away from her, as opposed to making a big deal of walking away from her.
All right, Mr. Farah, good work. We appreciate it. Very interesting. Thank you.
Thank you.
When we come back, actress Patricia Heaton from Everybody Loves Raymond is bucking the Hollywood establishment. She is pro-life, among other things, and we'll talk with her in just a few moments.
Democrats have their man in New Jersey. Hello, everyone. I'm Donna Fiducia. And New Jersey Democratic leaders have named former Senator Frank Lautenberg to replace Robert Torricelli on the ballot this November. Torricelli dropped out of the race yesterday, but Republicans say it's too late, and they're going to court in the morning to fight it. Well, the U.S. says not so fast weapons inspections in Iraq. Fox News correspondent James Rosen has more from Washington.
The White House wants UN weapons inspectors to hold off on heading for Baghdad. Talks ended Tuesday in Vienna between Inspection Chief Hans Blix and the Iraqi government. But Secretary of State Colin Powell says the inspectors shouldn't begin their search for Saddam Hussein's weapons of mass destruction until the U.S. gets a firm UN resolution authorizing their work. At the White House, President Bush opposed a bipartisan compromise for a congressional resolution that would emphasize diplomacy and disarmament over military action and regime change in Iraq.
And we'll continue to work with the members of Congress. But I don't want to get a resolution which ties my hands, a resolution which is weaker than that which was passed out of the Congress in 1998.
The president and congressional leaders meet for breakfast at the White House Wednesday morning. In Washington, James Rosen, Fox News.
Next update coming your way at the top of the hour. O'Reilly continues next.
Hi, I'm John Scheer, CEO and founder of Video Professor. You know, after teaching people how to operate their computers for over 15 years now, I'm amazed that there are still people that don't have computer skills, like Windows, word processing, the internet, and email. If you're looking for that new job, or maybe it's just balancing your budget, or even helping your kids with homework, these aren't handy skills to have, these are essential. If you're having trouble learning the computer, I'm going to help you out with a free learning lesson of your choice from Video Professor. Let me show you how simple this is. You put the CD in your CD drive. The lesson plays right on your computer screen. Just follow the step-by-step instructions that guide you through learning the software. The lesson always stays on top of the program you're learning. You see what to do, then just do it yourself. You can't make a mistake because you see the results right in front of you. You can pause or rewind the lesson to move at your own pace. The CD is like having your own personal tutor. It's always there for you to learn or review whenever and wherever it's convenient. You know, the best part about this offer, this is free. Now, it's important for you to know the reason why I'm doing this. That's because I know that once you try our product, you'll come back to us for all your computer learning needs. These lessons are jam-packed. They're over an hour in length. We've been doing this for over 15 years, and we have over 4 million customers. You just pay a small shipping and handling, and I'll even refund that if you're not satisfied with my product. It's free, the risk is free, so what do you got to lose? Try my product.
Call Video Professor now for your free lesson. Choose from Windows, Word, Quicken, the Internet, and many more. Call in the next 10 minutes, and this free gift will be yours. The Anytime Organizer is the calendar, diary, address book, and journal on your PC, so you'll never miss an appointment again. Remember, you must call now to get your free CD and the extra free gift.
To get your free computer learning CD, you must call now. Call 1-800-514-1436.
Thanks for staying with us. And Bill O'Reilly in the second personal story segment tonight. Actress Patricia Heaton. She has hit it big in the CBS sitcom Everybody Loves Raymond. And now has a new book out called Motherhood in Hollywood, How to Get a Job Like Mine. You got to buy that dress first. Miss Heaton is the mother of 4 boys, ages 9, 7, 5, and 3.
Yes.
Whoa. And here she is.
Yeah, and very happy to be here.
Yeah, right. And you get the 4 boys at home, and then you get 4 boys in the sitcom.
Yes,
Romano
right.
and Boyle and those
Garrett
guys.
And Boyle, yeah, that's
right. I mean, they're worse than the little kids, aren't they?
They are, that's right.
All right. A couple of interesting things in your book, and we put it this way, ladies and gentlemen. If we have somebody on here, the book's not going to be a dog. If the book's bad, we're not going to have them on here. So you are pro-life in a town that is almost 100% pro-choice. How does that impact on you?
Well, you know, I'm a chairman of Feminists for Life, and so I think because of that, we have an interesting stand that most people haven't heard before, which is being pro-life can be a feminist issue. The early feminists were pro-life. And really, abortion is a huge disservice to women, and it hasn't been presented that way. So there's a sort of an in for me because of that take on it.
Do you take any heat from your peers out there?
I did. I mean, I did originally. I vote Republican because of my pro-life stance, and of course, that was a real hot-button issue when Bill Clinton was first elected. I mean, people really... I wore a quail Bush button, and literally people would stop and look at the button and look at me and give me dirty looks and say nasty things to me. I think since 9/11, a lot of that has calmed down a little bit.
But still, I mean, if Susan Sarandon or Barbara Streisand were here, I mean, they wouldn't talk to you. They would turn their back on you.
You know what? It's not that polarized. I mean, people know me first as an actress and a friend.
But if they knew.
Some people have had that reaction.
The reason I'm saying it's a very emotional issue, as you know.
Yes.
Tremendously emotionally
Yes.
charged. And
Yes.
I believe it's been exploited by politicians. I think it's a human rights issue.
Yes.
Would you ban abortion?
As Feminists for Life, what we're trying to do is support women. And so what we want to do is reach women on campus, college campuses, so that when they get pregnant, they can find housing, they can find money they need to stay in school.
So you're putting an alternative track out there.
Yes, I think pro-choice is a ridiculous, But
it all comes down to, would you ban it if you were a Supreme Court justice? Would you vote to ban it?
Yes.
You would?
Yes.
Okay. Now, that obviously takes guts in Hollywood, because in Hollywood there's a subtext that if you don't play the game, you could lose jobs.
Yeah.
Did you ever think of it?
Yeah, I've thought about it. On a personal level, as a Christian, it will not be Barbara Streisand I'm standing in front of when I have to make an accounting of my life.
Yeah, you're not going to put your resume up.
Yes, so
that's a good point.
She will not be in charge of, whether I get my wings or not. So, ultimately, if I had to, I could pack all this up and do something else. There's 3 chapters in my book about all the survival jobs I've worked. I'm very happy to go back to that.
All right. So you're putting your moral beliefs
life is very
in
short.
front
Look,
of your
life
career.
is short. My mother died when I was 12. There's no guarantee that we're going to be here tomorrow.
Right. But by putting your moral beliefs in front of your career, you got to move out of Hollywood. I mean, because you're the only one who does it. All right, now let's get on to the juicy stuff here. Surgery, tummy tuck.
Yeah, well, this is my other mission. I feel that again, for women, there's a big disservice out there that a lot of people are out there trying to look perfect and be perfect and not really saying what goes on and what goes into this. And there's women actresses lying about not having work and you
Nicole,
don't need this stuff.
What's her name? Didn't have a breast job. You know that?
Well,
that's what she said. She said after I got pregnant, this happened.
Oh no! And
you know what I mean?
Yes.
I mean, you look at Buick headlights out there, and all of the doctors are looking around. But go ahead.
Yeah. So, and I've had 4 boys in quick succession, and I have to do a lot of award shows and things like that, and so I had a tummy tuck and I had breasts.
So when you have a
lifted.
tummy tuck, that's a lipo deal? They vacuum it out?
No. You get cut and pulled
Did
and
that hurt?
stitched. And, well, I had 4 C-sections, so to me it was just
like,
a walk in the
this is a
park.
50,
It
right.
was a walk in the park.
So you got your tummy tucked,
Yes.
and you got what else?
I had my breasts lifted because lifted.
Yeah.
Listen, I nursed 4 boys.
But I have
they were
I
heavy
have
drinkers.
5 or 6.
They're Irish, So
I have 5 or 6 good lines for that, but of course, in the interest of the family, I am not going to say anything about Miss Eaton's breast lift, or anyone who participated in it. Now, you're very nice. You're very unusual in the sense that you're so candid about yourself. I'm going to ask you another question now. Who takes care of your boys when you're on the set working at Raymond?
Well, my husband and I.
Does he have another job?
He's an actor and producer, so he is often available to take care of the kids.
Right.
I have a nanny that lives with us Monday through Friday.
Okay, so you have a full-time nanny living in the house.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Now, do you believe that those kids, because you're not around, particularly the little kids, suffer because of it?
A little bit.
In what way?
Well, this is the thing. When I had my mother, she didn't participate in my life, basically. No parents were really expected to do all these extracurricular activities and all that kind of stuff.
Me too.
Okay, she was there. She was cooking, cleaning, washing, whatever.
But she was there.
But she was there.
Right.
This is true. And so in that sense, I think I'm not there as much. But again, we only work 4 days a week.
Do you feel guilty about it?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think if the preferable thing is to have the mother there all the time.
Yeah, when you're a little kid. I mean, when
Yes.
you're a little kid. Now, do you do anything to compensate for the guilt that you feel? Are you too easy on them, or do you indulge them when you're
No, I'm
around?
pretty strict, but I have volunteered this year to be den mother, and that is a huge sacrifice, let me tell you.
Den mother to whom?
To my 7-year-old Cub Scout troop.
All right, so you have to go there and watch these little savages make stuff?
I have to think up the stuff for them to make.
Oh, you have to actually think up the stuff for them to make?
We're doing macaroni pencil
Let me give you a
holders
tip
this
on
week.
that.
Yeah.
You know what's really good for den
What?
mothers? Cross country. The game cross country. No, this is good. All right. You say, okay, now we're going to play cross country.
Yeah.
You run 10 miles. and get all of those kids, and by the time they get back, they're like this. Would you like some lemonade after that 10-mile run? Cross country always worked for me as a teacher.
And the parents will love me because the kids will come home and collapse.
Exhausted.
Yes.
All right, that's the best den mother deal. And these stupid kids are so dumb. They go, oh yeah, cross country, let's do that. Let's run 10 miles. All right, they don't know.
Yes.
So that's free from the factory.
Okay, very good.
Good book. And look, we respect you because most of these Hollywood weasels, I mean, they're lying like crazy to us, and we're not saying you're right, you're wrong, but we're saying that if you do believe something, put your morals ahead of your career.
Yeah, I mean, the thing I found in Hollywood was that the Democrats were supposed to be all inclusive, but they weren't inclusive of my opinions.
It's like Club Med. They're all inclusive, but if you want to drink, it's extra.
Yes.
Thanks, Miss Eden. Nice
to
see
be here.
you.
Thank
all right?
you.
Say hello to everybody for me out there. Next, the mob. The mob is stealing our tax dollars, and The Sopranos broke the story, if you can believe it. We'll talk with former wise guy Henry Hill about organized crime in the construction industry. It's not boring, ladies and gentlemen. Stick around for this.
It happens every October. America's pastime goes prime time. Fortunes are turning. Momentum is shifting. The Division Series begins this week on Fox.
The new 105.9, The River. First class rock.
This one goes out to the one I love. I love you for your pink Cadillac, rose velvet seats. 'Cause I'm already gone.
The new 105.9, The River. First class rock.
Shelters for homeless teens, one of the many benefits of the charitable donations from the Spirit Mountain Community Fund.
Learning that you have cancer is devastating. Learning that for treatment you'll have to travel to Portland every weekday for 6 to 8 weeks makes it even more difficult. For years, Tuwality Healthcare has worked to provide a full spectrum of cancer services. Introducing the new Tuwality OHSU Cancer Center, now providing state-of-the-art radiation therapy right here in Western Washington County. The new Tuwality OHSU Cancer Center in Hillsboro, because fighting cancer is hard enough without fighting traffic.
A CNBC personal finance tip. How to put a financial cushion down before you fall. Build an emergency fund or cushion with an automatic savings plan. Just ask your bank to automatically withdraw a specified amount from your monthly paychecks. Then direct the bank to funnel that money to an interest-bearing savings account or mutual fund. Before you know it, you'll have a good-sized fund for a rainy day. Watch CNBC weekdays.
Electric bikes and scooters. Lots to choose from at Ron Tonkin Chevrolet.
In the Back of the Book segment tonight, a couple of weeks ago, there was a scenario in the HBO program The Sopranos that showed how organized crime infiltrates construction projects, both public and private. The Big Dig in Boston and road construction surrounding New York City have both gone billions over budget and is taking forever. There are heavy rumors of mob involvement not only on these projects, but also all over America. The question is, why is this being allowed to happen? Why is organized crime scooping up our tax dollars? We asked former mobster Henry Hill, the author of the new book, The Wise Guy Cookbook, remember him from the Goodfellas situation, and his attorney, Robert Simmels, to paint us a picture. Mr. Hill, I live in New York City, and since I moved back here 16 years ago, they have been working on the Long Island Expressway. They can't fix it, all right? And now they work on every road. There's not one road that I know of in this city that's not under construction. Nobody's ever working there, okay? And it's crazy traffic because they can't fix the roads. How does the mob, all right, influence that?
Well,
First of all, they have the politicians, and that's the reason they started the trade association, because they figured if the politicians could do it, they could do it, and they wanted a piece of the pie, and they got it, and as far as the road goes, I mean, it's there's bribery going on constantly. There's I mean, it's a joke. I mean, and it's not only in New York City; it's in a lot of major cities.
Yeah, sure. It's in the Big Dig in Boston and all of that. Now, Counselor, can you get specific about what organized crime does to, number one, slow these projects down, and number two, how do they make money doing it?
Well, they don't really want to slow it down. What they want to do from the beginning is get a piece of the pie going into it. So they'll sit down, and the unions and the builders will all come together and come up with a number. Part of that number is going to organized crime. And what they do is they get some no-show jobs. They get some people who show up and don't do anything. They get money that's actually coming out of the construction itself, sheetrock, materials that disappear. And those are the kinds of things.
All right, so they have people that are being paid by the taxpayers of New York City, taxpayers of Boston, Philadelphia. I don't know if this happens on the West Coast, but I suspect it does somewhat. And that money goes to the organized crime chief.
That's correct.
All right, the people that don't show up get paid, and the money goes over there. Then they steal things from the work site.
Correct.
They don't work 8-hour days. I never see them working out there on the LAE.
They don't work 8-hour days.
How many hours they work?
If they show up, well, it depends if it's a total no-show job or a job where they have to come and sit around.
Right.
And so if they have to come and sit around, they spend a certain amount of hours. They go for long lunches, and then maybe they come back, and maybe they don't.
And the state of New York, the state of Massachusetts, they don't supervise this, or they don't. What do they do?
They have no control.
Go ahead, Mr.
Bill,
Hill.
I had my first union card when I was 14 years old, and the shop steward used to pick me up. That's the guy that the union puts in there to watch over the safety conditions of the job, and that's and he controlled probably 10 ghosts, 10 phantoms that did not show up. And I used to show up occasionally.
All right, can we assume, Mr. Hill?
I was 14 years old, and I was getting a...
I believe you, and I believe the council. Can we assume that most construction projects in New York City and Boston and most are being run this way by organized crime? Can we assume that?
Well, the government is... The government has taken over quite a few unions, and, and they put a dent in it, but it's never going to go away. There's just way too much money involved in it, and it's something that's there for good.
All right, now
I mean, every yard of concrete that they pour in the city is taxed, and every ounce of steel that comes out comes out of those mills is taxed.
All right, when you say tax, that means there's a piece of that going to organized crime. They just peel off the money and give it to them.
Absolutely, and then you have the pension funds. Now,
Yeah, I don't want to get into the pension funds now. That's just too big. Now, in Boston, Counselor, $1 billion cost overruns, $1 billion. Stuff disappears all the time from the site, stolen. Again, not too many people working on the depression of the artery up there in Boston. Do you lay this at the doorstep of organized crime?
Well, it's in part the organized crime, it's part government inefficiency, but it's certainly a substantial amount of corruption involved. Otherwise, this kind of money wouldn't disappear. Otherwise, you wouldn't see people not working at the sites. Otherwise, you wouldn't see materials missing from the sites.
All right, why doesn't Governor Pataki and the governor of Massachusetts, whomever it will be in the fall, but Jane Swift, why don't they do anything about it?
What would you like them to do?
I would like them to get organized crime out of the construction industry. Is that too much to ask?
It apparently has been too much to ask for many, many years. I mean, if we look at just a very good example some years ago, Sammy Gravano was in the drywall business, sheetrock business. They put up the Palace Hotel here in the city. They put up many, many, many big structures here in the city. His partners included other members of the club. The club included the Carpenters Union, included people like Biff Halloran, who was a builder, and others. So they've got every piece of the action worked out. It's bid a certain dollar amount. They know what they have to set aside. They know what they can steal.
And they have legitimate people in front making the bids.
Absolutely.
All right. Now, Mr. Hill, do you think there's any way you can clean this up? Could Governor Pataki do something about this if he wanted to in New York?
Bill, can you take the beer out of Ireland? It's never going to stop.
Can I take the beer out of Ireland? I wouldn't want to try. That's the problem.
Well, I don't think anyone wants to try to mess with the...
Why?
With that little,
I mean,
because
every taxpayer... Every taxpayer is taking it on the chin here. They won't fix the roads. They can't do the big dig. It's insane. Every taxpayer getting hurt.
And they keep building bigger houses for themselves and, and paying the top attorneys to represent them. They got to make a living, and they're going to make a living. And
so you say that the Governor Pataki and all the power that the states have can't dent this organized crime construction alliance.
Listen, if Giuliani couldn't do it, no one can do it.
There you have it. And next, we'll wrap things up, the most ridiculous item of the day, and some of your mail.
For powerful digital imaging systems that are race car fast and handle so well they can pump out up to 105 pages a minute, think inside the box. Think Savin.
Now, the same Caltrate that helps fight bone loss may help your colon too. In a recent study, Caltrate helped reduce the risk of recurrence of colon polyps, a risk factor for colon cancer. The same Caltrate you take for your bones, now for colon health too. With us, waiting, watching UFOs. We take you where science fiction meets the facts. We expose top government secrets, plus the real deal behind UFO sightings. Then cruel experiments, sexual torture, the truth behind alien abductions. Join Rick Fulbaum for UFOs, Proof of Life, a Fox News Channel special. Tomorrow, he's tortured and killed his own people, stolen billions from the UN, and organizes terror cells. A shocking look at the Butcher of Baghdad. Tomorrow on Fox News Live. Time now for the most ridiculous item of the day. Despite all the controversy surrounding our investigations of the charities after 9/11, the National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences has honored us. The proclamation reads, the NATAS is honored to recognize Bill O'Reilly for contributions to the reporting of momentous events beginning on September 11th, 2001. Well, since I get very few honors, I really appreciate this one. And my staff does too, since they did much of the heavy lifting. They all got certificates as well. The question now becomes, should I send the citation to George Clooney? Or would that be ridiculous? Let me know. Through the mail. And here's tonight's sampling of it. Eddie Carnes, Yelm, Washington. Bill, I doubt you have the guts to air this. I applaud Congressman McDermott's efforts to save lives in Iraq. I am an Army veteran, and I give McDermott a Medal of Honor for patriotism. Woody Westfall, Cedar City, Utah, Cedar City, Utah. McDermott said that we should give the Iraqis a benefit of the doubt. Then he says we can't trust President Bush. The man is a traitor in my eyes. Charles Fox, West Sayville, New York. We keep hearing about Iraq's weapons of mass destruction, but not a mention of ours. Mr. Fox, I think you're making a grave mistake by giving Iraq moral equivalency with America. Lou Smith, Matooka, Wisconsin. As a disabled veteran, I am switching from the Democratic Party to the Republicans. McDermott is aiding the enemy. About the poet laureate of New Jersey accusing Jewish people of masterminding 9/11, we heard from a number of people who have fried their brains using the internet. Barbara Chandler, Newfoundland, Canada. We know who runs the media. You should not try to censor the New York attack. Let Mr. Baraka teach us what really happened. Mary Jo Andrews, Reno, Nevada. Mr. Riley, I'm offended by your racism when you attack Mr. Baraka. He is exposing the Jewish supremacists. So let me get this straight, Ms. Andrews. You are offended by my racism? Once again, more than 500 Jewish people were killed in the World Trade Center. It is simply reprehensible for any person to spread this kind of propaganda. Alex Lovett, Adele, Georgia. I'm 11 years old and think Mr. Baraka is an embarrassment to the whole country. And you are right, Alex. Thank you for writing. Jan Gerdell, Washington, Missouri. Hey, Bill, Al Sharpton or any other American taking the movie Barbershop seriously is like taking Archie Bunker seriously. Can't we just all laugh at ourselves? Bill Suzor, North Orange, Massachusetts. Is the first time I ever agreed with Sharpton. A moral standard should be adopted by all. Beecher Medford, New San Antonio, Texas.
Mr. O, my wife is a Democrat and I am a Republican. We both enjoy The Factor. The program invites much discussion, gives us an agreeable home environment. Well, we do what we can for marital bliss, Mr. Medford. And Carrie Wharton, Evansburg, Pennsylvania. Hey, Bill, in my eyes, you are the cutest guy on TV next to Shepard Smith. Next to Shepard, Carrie? What is this world coming to? And I think I'll seek refuge in a website, www.foxnews.com/O'Reilly. We got the barbershop shootout on the website, and we got the Factor gear. And remember, some of the proceeds go to charity. It's getting a little chilly out there, a little October deal, you know, get that windbreaker. Sharp-looking windbreaker, okay? Your friends will be envious. Also, how about email us with some pithy comments, O'Reilly@foxnews.com, O'Reilly@foxnews.com. Name and town if you wish to opine. And if you do live near Barbra Streisand, you need to get the Factor windbreaker. That is it for us today. As always, we thank you for watching The Factor. Please remember the Radio Factor, Westwood One, coast to coast, each day. Hattie and Colm has more on Saddam Hussein. I'm Bill O'Reilly. Hope to see you again next time. And remember, the spin
stops here.
Yay! See you tomorrow.